Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So far we have been learning about the operating system in details, their functions, types, process, memory management, file systems, and even the companies with the Windows, Linux or Mac OS. But here we have however wonder how did you all begin? Today let's start with the time. Let's back in a time and explore some early operating system, how they were created, what problem they have solved, and how they have shaped the computers that we have used today. So let's get started. The first operating system is runtime libraries that intended to simplify the reprogramming of early computer systems rather than tiny, impressive yet massive complex hardware and software systems of today. The first computer often occupied an entire floor of warehouse, cost millions of dollars, and were capable of being used only be the single person at a time. The user would be first reset the computer, load the program by toggling it into the system one bit at a time, and then hit go, producing output of the reviewing doing the following user's term. If the program had a bug, the user would need to wait to try running it over again. Often the next day, it might seems like there is no need for an operating system in the settings. However, since the computer were enormously expensive, reducing the likelihood of the programming errors is a prominent. The first operating system were developed to reduce the errors by providing the standard sets of open services. For example, the early operating system provides a standard input-output routine that each user could link into their program. These services made it more likely that the user program would produce the sound output. Although this initial operating system were huge step forward, the result was still highly inefficient. It was around this time the CEO of the IBM famously predicted that it would only need the five computer in the world. If the computer today cost millions of dollars, it could only run a tiny application by the one person at a time. He might have been really right. So here in a pre-operating system era, in 1940s and early 1950s, the first computer like ENIAC and UNIVAC didn't even have the operating system. The programs were entered manually using the punch cards or switches. The entire computer would run only in one program at a time. Once the program is finished, the operator had to manually load the next one. This is a very slow and inefficient. Computers were huge, expensive, and mostly used in scientific and military calculations. The the need of the automation led to the birth of the operating system. So the first generation of the operating system came up in 1950s to 1960s. The earliest form of the operating system where it's called batch system. Instead of running in one job at a time manually, the user would submit the jobs on the punch cards. The operator collect these jobs and into the batches and feed them into the computer. The computer then execute them one by one without stopping for the user's input. There are some examples like a GEM NAA at 1956. It is developed by IBM 704, considered for the first operating system. The advantages are it improve the efficiency and reduce the idle time, but the disadvantages are the no interaction with the users. Debugging is very slow. The second generation comes in 1960 to 1970s. Where the hardware is improved, operating system become more sophisticated. The computers could now hold multiple jobs in a memory at once. The OS decide which job to run next. It improves the CPU utilization. This was the beginning of the scheduling and resource management. The examples are IBM OS and multicores. The third generation of the operating system comes in 1960s, late 1960s and 1970s. It introduced the batch processing where it wasn't enough. You want to communicate or interact with the computers directly. This leads to the time sharing OS where the CPU rapidly switches between the multiple users, giving each the illusion of the having their own computer. It introduced the interactive computing, the supported terminals so multiple users could work simultaneously, mark the rise of the multi-user systems. For example, CTSS, that is competitive type sharing system, and Unix. Uh, Unix. Unix becomes a foundation of many of the modern OS that includes a Linux and Mac OS. The rise of the personal computer is beginning at 1970s to 1980s, when the computer becomes a smaller, cheaper, and personal computer begins. It changed everything. Here it comes with a Mac OS, Windows, MS DOS, etc. And this system are introduced by GUI, that is graphical user interfaces, making computer accessible for every day and everybody to the key contribution of this early operating system is the batch processing, multi-programming, time sharing, Unix and PCOS. Here the in batch processing it automates the job execution. It multi-programming is better CPU utilization. Uh, Time sharing is interactive and multi-user computing. Unix is the probability networking, and a file system design that shaped the modern OS. PCOS is brought the computer to homes and offices. The legacy of the OS is Unix, and it is decent. It continues to dominate the servers and the professional computing. The Windows growing from MS-DOS into the most widely used desktop OS. The concept of multi-CS and CTCS, CTSS still exists in today's world. The process of scheduling the file system is secure. In short, the DNA of the early operating system is still run inside the laptop phones and even in the cloud servers that we have used today. So the conclusion of this video is to the early operating system has no OS. The programs were done manually. It is a batch system introduced automation, the multi-programming that improves your efficiency and reduce your time consumption. The time sharing made a more interactive computers computing more interactive computing possible. Unix, MS DOS, Mac OS, and Windows defined the foundation of the modern operating system. So the next time when you boot up your computer or phone, remember it's a stack that it started or it's all started at the 1950s with some very basic but inventory system. That's it for the today's video. Today's video in early operating system. If you enjoy this history focused episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Techie channel. Thank you very much.